No Game No Life fans rejoice. No, your long-awaited sequel is not here. But it does seem like they had a baby with Classroom of the Elite, and they birthed Liar Liar. Yes, a light novel series and manga series with so much thickness, Geek Toys as a studio could not handle it. Yes, the wonderful Geek Toys, a studio that brought you such classics as Ningen Fushin, Fantasia Sango, and Rewrited. Taking the nice artwork from this series and left it with a dysfunctional society. Because what could go wrong with a schooling system based on staring contests and wagers that could so easily be hacked? We don't know, because anime loves these types of stories. But yes, jokes aside, this is my first impressions of the first 2 episodes of Liar Liar, a series that is airing in the summer 2023 anime season. Let's jump into it. Liar Liar takes place at the Academy Island. This is an island with 20 different districts and different schools within each one of them that are all competing to have the best students. Now, yes, like most schools, the success of a school itself really does depend on the students and how well they're doing. But there's an added element in this particular island. Every student is given a phone, and on this phone it has their profile and everything like that, but additionally a way for them to challenge other students. See, there's a ranking system within these schools, a 7-star ranking system, and depending on how well you did entering the school, you'll be given a certain star. And as you compete with other students, you can gain stars from them, with every single student hoping that one day they can achieve 7-star ranking. This is the highest status of them all. Well, opening up the story, we have the arrival of Hiroto, and he has just arrived at school. He did very terribly at his exams and got a 1-star ranking. But he's going to this school in order to find somebody. So no matter how bad he's doing, he's still focused on staying on this island until he finds them. Well, as he's lost in one district, he ends up bumping into a girl named Sarasa Sayonji. And she kind of helps him out, learns about the phone itself, how to challenge people, and additionally how to get to the district that he's looking for. Well, after they go to part ways, she ends up getting sprayed by a sprinkler and assumes it's his fault. Like he set her up. Some random kid from another district's in our district, and he's asking for a way to get back, and then suddenly I get sprayed by a malfunctioning sprinkler system. It's gotta be you. So she ends up challenging him to a game. Well, it just so happens that Sayonji is a 7-star. She is like the queen of this area. She has never lost a game. And the game that she ends up choosing, because he didn't choose one, normally the person that is the lowest rank is the one that has to initiate and choose everything. She ends up going with a staring contest. And these drones will watch your expressions, and if you change your expression in any way, you lose. And then they have different abilities that you can apply to the match itself, like creating a sword or reducing somebody else's time to make the other person change their expression. Well, she ends up getting splashed again, gets extremely embarrassed, thinks that he did it all himself, and then runs off and loses. And thus begins the lie, because what he just did is going to cause a lot of problems. A random 1-star just beat a 7-star. So he's brought in by the headmistress of this particular district, and she tells him, look, this is gonna look really bad. And oh yeah, by the way, Sayonji, the 7-star, she's the daughter of the head of this entire island. Like, their family created this island. He's gonna come after you. And it just so happens that when he won against Sayonji, he acquired a special star. There's only like 10 or 15 of them on the island. It's a red star. And a red star allows you to create one lie. So the headmistress gives him an option. You either leave the island and never come back, or you take part in a lie. He will use this red star to essentially make it appear as if he's a 7-star and keep up this facade that Sayonji didn't lose to a random 1-star. And so thus begins the lie of him being a 7-star and having to keep that status and keep that appearance to everybody, and additionally not lose. Because there is another element to this red star. Whoever beats you and obtains that red star will then see all the lies that you told with that red star. And as we find out later on when Sayonji confronts him, her red star was coming up the fact that she is not the real Sayonji. She is a double. The real Sayonji was kidnapped, and she has been here basically keeping up the facade that Sayonji was never kidnapped and that she's just fine. Yes, she told him the lie. He didn't figure it out based on him getting that star. How dumb this girl is. It's cute. It's that archetype. She blurts out everything and reveals everything because she thinks that he's a mastermind. But yeah, that's sort of to the joke of the main character, Hiroto. He keeps up this facade that he is this mastermind and that nobody can beat him, but underneath, he's constantly going, oh my gosh, that was so embarrassing, or holy crap, is this gonna work? Oh my gosh, they're gonna see through me, that was stupid, all that kind of stuff. Well, the headmistress doesn't let Hiroto go on his own. She actually assigns him a group of people known as the Company. And the Company, which includes this maid that now takes care of him at the dorms, uses all of their resources in order to help him keep a winning streak. Because again, if he loses, they'll learn about the lie. And they have a whole cast of people, including one that is a hacker that will hack his abilities to give him the proper abilities to win a fight. And that's basically the gist of the story so far. So my thoughts on Liar Liar. First of all, visually. Let's just get that part out of the way here. It looks fine. For Geeks Toys, it looks fine. I'm not a fan of Geek Toys at all. I think they're a studio that just butchers so many anime. It's not even funny. I think the only ones they did a decent job of was probably Hensuki, and I think Day Day Live turned out okay. I don't know. It's a studio that just pretty much botches most things. But like I said, it looks fine. I like the character designs. They're super cute. The only real problem that I'm seeing so far is that, yes, while this is based on the light novel, the light novel has a certain style. It's a lot of thickness. And yes, some of the genre tagging for this anime series is ecchi. And this show is not ecchi. It's like they completely removed all the ecchi out of it, which I think for a show like this could actually favor ecchi. It's one of those types of shows that sort of has a lot of its comedy around misunderstandings and assumptions based on the female cast. They assume the worst. Oh, well, you're going to use this against me because you want to take my body. Or like the maid where she's like, well, I am a live-in maid, but I'm not going to live in your quarters. There's little goofy little moments. And like I said, the style itself, especially with the light novel as well, is thickness. There's no thickness to these character designs. They're very plain, they're very flat. So already with the character designs themselves, it's not really delivering, and yes, technically on the ecchi factor, it's not really there. I mean, the closest we got was Saionji. When she got splashed with the water, you've seen a little bit of cleavage to their shirt. That's about it. So I guess what I'm saying here is if you're looking at this and you see ecchi tag, don't come into this looking for ecchi. You're not going to find it. But moving on from there, putting that aside, so far it seems okay. I think the only thing that I've seen people note is that, and it felt like it, with the first battle after Saionji, they completely skipped it. They made this big emphasis on the idea that their company is going to hack for him to win this next match, and it's just over. So we don't really get to see how are they hacking until like the next fight, which apparently is where they're changing the abilities that he can use during the matches. Story-wise, it's okay. I've never been a huge fan of these types of shows, and now granted, typically it's because a lot of them end up turning into all according to Keikaku, where you have the explanation of the match itself, you see the match play out, they win somehow, and then you have this long explanation about how it all went according to plan, and here's what the plan was. This one's not really relying on that too much, and there is an element that makes me wonder what is going to be the shtick here, other than him reacting to how he's doing all this stuff and he doesn't want to do this stuff. It is sort of offsetting it by the fact that it does have a decent cast already. You do have this setup between Hiroto Shinohara and Saionji and the idea that they have to work together. He knows her secret, she knows his secret, and if he loses, everybody will learn her secret. The lie keeps being passed along. So it is in the best interest of Saionji, or at least the double of Saionji, to assist Shinohara in winning all these matches, to keep up the lie. So he essentially has her help, and he has the help of the company and the headmaster, all to win against other people that are challenging him and keep up the lie. Now, I guess the only oddity here is that they have a lot of rules in play that is supposed to keep this system in effect. Let's be perfectly honest, whenever I see these types of stories, I immediately think, this is like the worst society ever. Like, this would never work in the real world. Like with Classroom of the Elite. When I seen that series, I immediately go, wow, there's no way these people can be functional in society. And that sort of kind of plays into this one as well. You have a system here where people can hack into it, they can deceive, they can use other people. Like, what's to keep somebody from having a bunch of low ranks challenge them and beat them to go acquire their stars? And maybe it's just not gotten to the moment where it explains how that stuff isn't exploited. But for now, it just kind of feels like, how in the world is this a logical academy? But it's all for fun. I mean, we suspend our disbelief of that stuff so that we can have fun watching the show. And so far, it's okay. I don't find Shinohara really annoying, except for the fact that he always has to react in his mind about how he looks embarrassing or he's doing something dumb. Saionji is cute and she's okay. She is, yes, definitely airheaded, and that technically adds to her charm. Himeji is definitely winning best girl in the show right now, because obviously maid type girl, Rem type girl that's got a cuteness to her. She's not like super Rem, so it's okay. It doesn't have that like overly submissive nature to her. She is a little bit combative, and it does definitely make her a lot more enjoyable as a character. I'm still waiting for Asamiya. I've seen her in the OP. She looks gorgeous. I love her character design. So we still have a lot of character to introduce in here, and I'm hoping that a lot of them will add a little bit of extra flavor to the story. But I do have to admit that despite the fact coming into the show, I was going to expect it to be a all according to Keikaku and be a really annoying show, it's not been that. It's been a lot more enjoyable than these shows are typically. The only thing I can really give a negative to the show so far with these first 2 episodes, and it's understandable because of the first 2 episodes, that most of these first 2 episodes has just been nothing but information dump. Really overly explaining a system that's honestly not that complicated. It's a ranking system. You compete with other people and let the rest of it be explained as it goes along. But that's probably a product of the fact that it's based on a light novel, and light novels typically do like to explain a lot of that stuff. It's just to the negative of the people working on it that they can't figure out how to make that information dump that's usually in a light novel flow nicely in an animated format. My biggest concern that I have going forward with this series is really around how they're presenting these games itself. So far, it hasn't been that interesting. And with a show like this, you typically think that these games have to have some sort of interesting twist to it. Something that makes it engaging and makes you go, holy crap, I can't believe they pulled that off. So far with the first game, she just got splashed by a sprinkler and misunderstood the situation. The second game, they skipped it. And with the third game, it's literally just, okay, hype up this race, and then, oh, I disabled everything. With stories like this, with some sort of game mechanic to it, you sort of have to have some sort of hook to each fight. You have to have a twist in there that makes it interesting. And like I said, I give it credit for not just being the hook is, all according to Keikaku, let me explain how I cheated it, but with the aspect of him basically cheating through each one of them, that's not that fun. And yes, you could say it's honestly cruel because he's literally beating everybody by cheating. And this is these people's future. I do have to admit that the comedy is pretty solid so far, even though, like I said, it's pretty much removed all the ecchi comedy out of it. There's been a few points already that I've had a good chuckle out of. I like the whole ketchup comment with Ichinose, where she's like, what do you think red signifies? And he's like, ketchup. And she's like, that's a really cute response, but no. And yes, I get a lot of cuteness chuckles out of the Saionji and how she always kind of over-exaggerates everything and misunderstands everything. Like I said, she's got a lot of ditzy cuteness comedy to her. And I like a lot of the chemistry around Himeji. But we'll see from here on out. Now that all the information dump is out of the way, I'm sure that going forward it could be more interesting. But for now, honestly, my only really big complaint is that the thickness is gone, because that's some really good thickness. But anyways, that's my thoughts on Liar Liar. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment, let me know what's thought of the episodes, or if you're going to be checking it out. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure to that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you like this content and you want to support it more, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks, and membership button down below. I greatly appreciate everybody does, and y'all take care.